Good morning, everybody. How is it going on this beautiful Saturday as we are approaching the most historic storm in the entire world? Has anybody heard? Of course, you've heard that news. Hold on for me just a second. I'm going to drop over real quick and check out my new sewer cam over here. I have to fix something real quick. Calling that the sewer cam because I've got my my growing collection of toys over here as I'm seeking to try to rebuild my lost toy collection. So as you can see over there, I appreciate your patience. I was wondering, I had this frame on my camera lens or this on the camera, and I was like, what is this about? And then I realized that it is the fact that my camera was actually recording or was catching part of the monitor over here where it wasn't supposed to. So, all right. So I think we're good. You know, it's so weird. You leave for, 2 weeks? I took 2 weeks off here. And then I come back and it's like I forget how everything is done. It's so weird because you've got so many of these little technical things you got to do and such. But anyway, thanks everybody for joining us. My name is Aaron Barker. I am, if you're new to the show, so I've had some new followers over the past few weeks. If you're new to the show, then thank you very much for joining. Don't forget to follow on all the socials. Doing a little bit of change on my social profiles there. You can find me on TikTok under Nostalgia Dad. That's at Nostalgia Dad. Also, you can do the same thing on, I believe it is Instagram is where I've updated that as well. Going through a process, just updating all of those things. So check those out if you are so inclined or so interested to do so. And you can follow me over there. And a little bit of a different turn this year because in the past it's been more focused on, social issues, cultural issues, and things of the like. Now it is... now it's more focused on the joyful things, the things that we appreciate more in life. Joining us, my name is Aaron Barker. Sorry about that. I'm trying to make sure that I'm live over here on Rumble. Okay, just on the more fun, lighter side of life and joyful things we can all focus on. So you can join me also on Substack by going to aaronbarker.substack.com. I'm over there as well. If you're watching this show and you like what you see so far in the first few minutes of all the technical difficulties that I've had, if you want to go ahead and share the show out, please do so. Am I live on Facebook? I don't know if I'm live on Facebook or not. Oh, I have to hit go live. There we go. All right, don't worry. Those that have been watching over on Rumble and such, I'm not going to start over with my intro or anything like that. We're just going to move right ahead as if none of the technical difficulties happened, and the Facebook world will be none the wiser. All right, so a lot of things, as mentioned, I took the past 2 weeks off, had some personal things I had to take care of, nothing, health-wise or issues, anything like that. My daughter she went back to school, so that was one of the times that we took off so we can get her back down to school, and then I had to take off because of what was the other thing I had to take off for? Some personal issues over there as well. But regardless, I'm back now. Some interesting things have happened over the past couple of weeks in my journey to acquire or recapture my childhood, those things that I've lost. And I'm really enjoying it. I've had a lot of joy. I've been able to, and you'll be seeing on future shows, some today, but then also on future shows, you'll be able to see some of those things that are growing and some of those newer avenues that I'm taking. And I'll just show you here real quick. I'll go ahead and give you this shot here again. This is the sewer cam. So over here is the growing toy selection that I have. It's not the best view because I'm going to be putting some up here in a minute, but I was able to acquire some vintage, I call them vintage. These are some Ninja Turtle pieces from 1988. Some of the original Ninja Turtle pieces. These This was from 1991. This is the head drop in Donatello. So this is the one where if you push his head down and then you push his legs, his head pops up. It's really awesome. This is from 1991. And the others here are the vintage turtles. This is the Samurai Leonardo, and then you've got Raphael, Donatello, Michelangelo. I don't have a regular Leonardo, but this Leonardo is one of those pieces that I wanted growing up that I never got. And it's so incredible to actually get it now. I'm going to hold it up on this camera here that way. It's an incredible piece. And I heard somebody refer to it the other day as artwork. It didn't come complete. It was missing some shields and a flag and a couple of things there, but just really fantastic condition that he's in. And he's still the leader. He's still Leonardo, but he is not the standard or original Leonardo. So, but anyway, he is also from 1988, I believe. Let me get my glasses here. 1990, I'm sorry. He's from 1990. But beautiful piece here. And I was able to acquire that. And then I got the other turtles from 1990 or 1988. These are original. This is an original Raphael with the original size, which I couldn't believe, to be honest with you. I was able to get, let me switch over here so we can see this better here. This is the original Raph, and he still had a lot of his weapons that I was really shocked about. And he still had his size, which was incredible. I mean, usually you don't see that. When you're looking for these vintage toy pieces, typically they don't have the original weapons with them. I'm going to call them original. I wasn't told that they weren't original. I'm just going to go ahead and call them original. But it's so incredible to have this back, to actually hold this, because when I was a kid, it felt like this was huge. Like I would be holding the large 11-inch turtles now, but they're 4.5 inches high, but it's in great condition. He's in fantastic condition. Still got that really great green color on there too. And also Donatello here, who I stole one of his bows, but he had a bow staff as well. 2 bow staffs, and also original 1988. Donatello here, just fantastic. I mean, there was his strap back here is ripped, but I mean, honestly, these are items that I'm collecting for myself and my progeny. It's what I'm be leaving my kids and my grandkids. But this just fantastic shape that this is in, and one of the pieces that I was extremely excited about. I'll show you. Actually, 2 pieces I was very excited about, but since I'm on the turtle train right now, I'll show you this. This is Michelangelo. He has his nunchucks, and I haven't pulled them out of the straps yet. I'm afraid that the plastic is going to be too weak, and I don't want to break the plastic or damage the nunchucks, but they are the nunchakos. They are in great condition. He's in great condition, but here's another fantastic thing, and some of you folks out there that are turtle collectors might already know what that is. This is a soft head Michelangelo, and those are rare. And I was able to acquire that, and very excited. Let me see here. Okay. Anyway, sorry. So I was actually looking. I was going to be honest with you. I was looking up the details on the soft head. They were the early versions of the Ninja Turtles, and of course they're distinguished by their soft heads. I got that because it's literally it is, when you look, it's very easy to tell the difference between a soft head and a hard head. I have a soft and hard head, metaphorically speaking, but all you have to do is just do a little pressure test. Press the head. I'm trying to get a good press the head here. He's got a soft head. Raph does not have a soft head. It's really that simple. Soft head, not soft head. And a really cool thing here is that a few weeks ago, when I found this head dropping turtle that I showed you at the beginning there, I found that in, and my oldest daughter found that in a toy store alongside this original Shredder, also from 1988. And he didn't have his cape, but he was probably the most awkward toy I believe I've ever owned. because he couldn't do much. This is how his legs were and how his arm was over here. There's no point of articulation there. The only thing you could do is twist his wrists on his hands, right? You can't, there's no articulation on his knees hardly except for the hip joints. So you can't make his legs stand up straight. He's extremely awkward to play with, but he was Shredder. And this original Shredder, he looks emaciated there in the back too, like he's got meningitis. This was an original piece as well. And cool thing about this is also a soft head. And now, I mean, this is the condition that this is in. I'm not doing this for money. I'm not doing this to acquire a collection so I can amass wealth or try to sell these toys or anything like that. If I come across some pieces that can be graded, that's fantastic. But I'm not in this for that. I'm in this to rebuild the things that I lost in the fire and over the years. But this is just an awesome piece and an awesome memory from my childhood. As to what we played with and what we did and the fun that we had in doing this. I think the reason that they did this particular shape, let me pull up. I've always wondered, and I found this the other day, and I thought this is a really good explanation potentially as to why they have Shredder standing like this. Let me go ahead and share this picture. I think I can share this real quick. There it is right there. It's going to be a little bit of a hassle to get this to show you all, but I am going to do it. So anyway, I'm sorry about the let's see if we go there. I'm just trying to find a bigger and better picture of the Shredder stance and why it's doing this. I wonder because, I'm hard pressed. I don't like to say negative things about those the toys because I love them so much and I don't want to offend the toys. I don't want to hurt the toys' feeling, making them think that they're somehow not as loved or liked as the other toys. I did that. Did anybody else do that? Where you wanted to play with all the toys, you wanted to give them equal time. You wanted to make sure that their feelings weren't hurt when you played with them. Am I the only one who did that? Because if I am, then so be it. I am, and I will live with that. But this was probably the most awkward toy to play with because of his stance. But some believe that it was the Urokusaki stance here, where this was actually in the original comic. This is a colorized version of the comic there. And with his arm up, you can see the similarities with his arm being up, his right arm being up, his left arm being extended, him almost in a crouching position, and with the hunched over back and all of that. So a lot of people, some people, and I'm starting to believe this as well. I don't know the Playmates' design or their purpose for this, but I believe that perhaps the reason that Shredder has this awkward stance is because of the original artwork that they were trying to model him after. Of course, the coloration for the cartoon and the coloration for the toys, completely different from the comic book. Comic books obviously were black and white, but it was a completely different style in the cartoon as opposed, and we're talking about attitude and persona and colors and origins. All of that were different in the cartoon than they were in the comic books. But I feel that I'm thinking the more I see this, that this is a possible answer that I've wondered for 40 years. Why in the world they did this stance for Shredder. Awkwardly difficult for kids to play with. But you still had a blast. He was still an awesome Shredder. That was another piece that we found. Hope he doesn't fall over. He's going to fall over, I think. There we go. We'll leave him like right there. He'll be holding that box up for now. and minding his own business. Okay, so that was so there, and then of course I can't forget one of the another one that is just phenomenal for me to be able to obtain, and that was Mondo Gecko, another turtle toy that I wanted that I never got when I was a kid that I was able to acquire now that I am an adult, and he is just the colors on him. He detaches from his skateboard, so you've got his skateboard here, and you've got him. He's got great detail on him as well. He's got great, the tail is great, and detail is great. Now, he's got a roller skate on his tail, so it doesn't drag. Tongue sticking out there, braces up here. He was from Hawaii and befriended the turtles and was helping them out because, of course, you got to bring all those mutants in. But this is just a fantastic piece that I thought was one of those pieces that you wanted, you never thought you would get, and I found Mondo Gecko, Raph, Michelangelo, Donatello, and Samurai Leonardo all together, and a guy had found them in a box that his parents had kept, and he was selling them, and I saw them, and I jumped right on it. I'm like, I'll pick them up tomorrow, and drove about an hour or so to get them, and I was so excited. There he is. Mondo Gecko is the piece that I wanted as a child, but I never was able to obtain. He comes with his skateboard as well, and you can have him on that skating through the sewers and fighting crime with the Ninja Turtles. I appreciate you humoring me on that and letting me talk about these pieces that I found, because I mean, I call them pieces, but these toys, I mean, they're fantastic, and they bring me so much joy right now because of what we've lost, what we've been through, and then just being able to obtain pieces that I didn't think I would ever see again or have again, and being able to hold on to those and have those has been just a joy. I'm so excited. Yeah, he does have some great lets. So we got some folks in the comments asking, so let me pull the comments over here. We're on Rumble, Facebook, YouTube, and Vocal. Let's go to vocl.com, look for Aaron Barker. Also on Rumble, you can look for the Aaron Barker Show, and over on YouTube as well, the Aaron Barker Show, and Facebook you can find there too. Right now, as I'm being asked in the chat, right now the temperature is 8. And they have a real feel. What's the real feel today? Feels like -7. So it's not too bad. The snow here isn't supposed to start until the afternoon. But my oldest daughter is going to the Olympics next week. She's not in the Olympics. She's going to the Olympics to help with the audio, to help with the broadcasting. So she had that opportunity through school. So she's going to Milan, Italy, to help with the broadcasting of the Olympics. And we were supposed to go down this weekend to help get her all packed up. We still got her passport. We got some stuff that some other things we purchased so that she can take with us and take with her and make the trip easier. And we were supposed to go down there tomorrow, but the snow is supposed to hit today. So we're hoping that this doesn't impact her travel, because she's traveling next Thursday. We're hoping that this doesn't impact that too much or too heavily, because we really don't want her to be sitting in airports around the world or here in the United States. Anywhere, really. Sitting anywhere, not getting out. Let's see. Some other comments here. Deb, Donatello is awesome. Here's the original one that I acquired. Donatello had his bow staff, and really awesome find, honestly. Just exciting to see him and to get him, as you can see. And it's just a standard toy. You know that when the Ninja Turtles cartoon dropped, that it was actually an ad buy, a 5-episode ad buy, and they contacted an advertising agency that was going to do 5 episodes of the Ninja Turtles, and the whole reason they were doing it was to sell a toy line. And after the 5 episodes, Fred Wolf was like, "Hey, you've got a a smashing success here. And they were like, no, we don't want it. They just wanted to talk. I mean, they could have just continued. I mean, they've raked in the profits. Playmates is actually, their contract is ending with the Ninja Turtles rights this year. So there's going to be a lot of Playmates that people are going to be buying. The prices are probably going to go up on these toys. So if you find a couple of them, go ahead and purchase them. But and then let me know about it and send them all to me because you love me. But these are, they were originally, the cartoon was originally set up specifically to sell toys. They did a great job selling toys, and then the franchise itself just took off because it was already an underground success. It is the best-selling of all time, the best-selling independently published comic book ever. It's fantastic. And if you get a chance to read the initial comics, the original comics, they are tremendous. But not only that, but this really cool one here, Deb, since you like Donatello so much, this is a head-dropping turtle. He is just a standard-looking Donatello. You can tell some differences, though. The coloration is a bit different. He has a little bit more shiny components than the regular Donatello does, and his head is a little smaller. And you can see here by depressing his head actually goes into his shell. So he can battle against his foes or against his brothers with his head and duck and all of that. And then all you have to do after you depress the head is just push the legs, and his head pops up. Really cool snapping sound too. So it goes down like that. There's what he looks like from behind, and gets that image of the turtle, retreating back into a shell because obviously it's very cold outside. And then you just press that down. Really cool. Great sound too. Great popping sound, and a lot of fun to have with the turtles as well. But yeah, so since you like Donnie, they did this for all four of them. I just happen to only have him now. So, all right, now that I will be talking a little bit later about another piece that I purchased. I'm super excited about it that I went and picked up a couple weeks ago. That also has to pertain to the Ninja Turtles. But some people have asked me what my thoughts are on the new Masters of the Universe trailer. And I don't know if you all have had an opportunity yet to watch that trailer. And if you have, what your thoughts are on that. So you can drop those in the comments because I'm going to go through a couple of things here and then see and give you my opinion on that. And let's go ahead and pull up the official teaser trailer of this. And I want to kind of drop down here in the bottom, and then we will take a gander at what this is looking like. Sorry. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So here is the preview.
All that stuff that only exists in legends and bedtime stories. Talking tigers, spaceships, and magic swords that can make a man as mighty as a god.
I first have to switch so that you all can actually see the trailer. Yeah. Oh, we're about to do that, Audrey. We're going to do that right now with the Masters of the Universe. Thank you so much for the support as well regarding I know that you all are, it's a completely different type of format than what it has been. And there's a couple of reasons I did that. And I'll talk about that if, either today or another time, something like that. But I want to do the Masters of the Universe trailer here. And I appreciate all your all's love and support here. And here we go with the, oh, no. Don't hit transition yet. There we go. Don't transition yet, Barker. Okay, here we go.
All that stuff that only exists in legends and bedtime stories. Talking tigers, spaceships, and magic swords that can make a man as mighty as a god. Where I come from, that stuff is real.
So this obviously is it is a departure from the original Masters of the Universe storyline. We will allow it for now until we get into the pros and the cons of this and what we think about it. But this is just Prince Adam talking about this, etc. And see if you catch a couple little jokes on here. I thought it was funny too.
Why did you send me away?
I wanted you to be safe. So I sent you to a place I knew that they'd never find you. There's
This obsession with nerd stuff and sword things, it's not a good look for human resources.
I know it sounds crazy, but that sword is gonna show me the way home.
Sir, you can't do that.
Don't worry, the sword's mine.
So a couple of things here. This is a departure from the original storyline, and I'm going to be kind of nerd out a little bit here. The original storyline is not that he was from Earth. His mother was from Earth, and she did tell him about Earth, but he was not from Earth. He had never been to Earth. He had stayed on Eternia, and his job was to defend Eternia and Castle Grayskull from Skeletor. So this whole thing about him being here on Earth before he goes back is not part of the original cartoon. I think I'll save that for a minute, but it's not part of the original cartoon, the original storyline. So if you see that, and of course, this is being nitpicky on it. I understand that they have to change certain things to kind of make it a little bit more modern day. Because they want to make it applicable to maybe the younger generation or those folks who maybe watched the remakes of the Masters of the Universe, capture some of that stuff. But that is not for those who are going to be picky like I am. That is not part of the original storyline. Here we go. Let's continue. Grayskull looks freaking awesome.
Hang on, it's about to get weird.
Okay, so here's a couple of things I want to show. I'm probably going to get dinged on Facebook for this. Here. All right, so we've got a cast of characters that we did not initially see in the movie that came out, and I think it's very imperative here that we do not compare this movie to the 1986 version, I think is when it came out, of Masters of the Universe. I think it's very important that we do not compare those two together. And the reason is because the one that came out with Dolph Lundgren, that was in what was the year? 1987. Yeah, 1987. When that came out in 1987, there were characters that were new, that were different, that were not included in the initial cartoon. They created certain or different people. They did not have Orko. They had another character that, Gimli was his name. And they had just introduced characters that were not in the original cartoon. You had Man-at-Arms, of course, He-Man, Teela, Skeletor, Evelyn, and the Sorceress. But there were a lot of people that were not in there. You didn't have Trapjaw or Cronus. You didn't have King Randor. You didn't have those other folks that were in there. This picture here is one of the pictures that shows some of those characters that were not in the original one that are popping up here on this new movie. And I think it's fantastic that they're expanding the universe, right? That they're adding in these additional characters. And it is, to me, extremely awesome that you're seeing them do this. So let's go here back to, I don't know if I do want to show one more part of the preview. Here it is right here. I do want to show one more part of this before you got to call it quits, because this is the part where he actually gets the sword, and here you go.
I have the power!
There he is right there. Okay, so that was the trailer there, and you saw there at the end. I need to pull that back up here because I want you to see that. I thought the addition of Skeletor there at the end, that scene with Skeletor, that Skeletor looks freaking awesome. He is so different than, again, and I don't want to compare these too much to the 87 movie because that was kind of outside of this universe. That was not to be included in this because it was so far outside of what was actually happening. They brought him to Earth. They didn't have Eternia, that kind of thing. So it was different. But this particular Skeletor, even compared to the cartoon, is fantastic. And I'm so excited that he's there. I want to rewind here and show you. Because this really cool shot of all of them kind of walking here. Where'd it go? So I'm trying to find the one where they were coming down the tunnel. So there's Beastman, which is awesome. He's going to be included in this as well, for those of you who are fans. That's Lockjaw, or Trapjaw, I mean, right there. That's coming at him. That's gonna, which is awesome. So he's going to be there as well. And you've got, let's see, as mentioned, you've got Beastman. I'm going to mute that. Play this here. There's Beastman. There's Evelyn. That's Cringer right there. Now, Cringer, if you remember Cringer was the scaredy cat. He was always afraid until Adam became He-Man and turned Cringer into Battle Cat. Cringer was afraid of everything. He didn't want to go. He didn't want, and this is real quick. I just want to say, He-Man's disguise was He-Man's disguise was more perfect than Clark Kent's disguise. You have this attractive man with, shoulder length blonde hair, very muscular, named Prince Adam. Whenever danger appears, he and his green, yellow striped scaredy cat tiger disappear. And then who emerges but an attractive man with big muscles, shoulder length blonde hair, and a huge sword with a green tiger sporting yellow stripes and red battle armor. Nobody noticed that. Like, not even his mom or dad were like, he looks really familiar. I guess it was his traps and it was his lats and it was his muscles that distracted them from it. But his disguise is the greatest disguise of all. But yeah, so Cringer, this is Battle Cat / Cringer. And he looks incredible. I've got some pictures here that I want to compare with the actual cartoon. And I want to go back. Where is that, man? I know it's on here. I just saw it. All right. I'm not crazy. I did see that, didn't I? There was a Man-at-Arms. Here we go. Right there it was. It's so fast you'll miss it. All right. So you've got, of course, Prince Adam there in the middle. Man-at-Arms to his left. To Man-at-Arms' left, you have Fisto. To Prince Adam's right, you have Teela. And then to his back, farther over to his right, you've got, that's Ram Man. Yep, you've got Ram Man. So to the right of Teela, you've got Ram Man. And then as you go back farther, you've got, hold on a second here. That is, I know they have them on there. Yeah, he's right there. Yeah. Mechaneck right there. So to the right of Adam, you've got Tila, and then you have Mechanic in the back there. I mean, it is so there to the right of Adam, you've got Tila, Ram Man, and Mechanic. And then I'm just like these. But here's one of the things, and I'm going to nerd out a little bit more here because I don't want to say I'm bothered by this, but I wonder about these kind of things. In the original cartoon of He-Man, Masters of the Universe, the Sorceress, Orko, and Man-at-Arms, those three people are the only people who knew Prince Adam's secret. They're the only ones who knew. Nobody, not even his parents, knew. But here in this, you've got Adam walking in Earth clothes of the 21st century, and he's surrounded by the cast of characters, which means, Tila went to Earth and got him, so she knows. Because if he shows up and then all of a sudden he's like, oh, well, Adam's here, big whoop, there's He-Man. Who cares about this Adam guy? So it seems to me like that's a little bit of a deviation as well, because the secret was well kept. Nobody was supposed to know about that. But it was, again, that's kind of one of those details that's a little bit nerdy on that, that some people might have an issue with. I understand, again, things have to change, but I don't understand why they have to change them so much that the original part of the cartoon or the original part of the story is altered like that. But that is me being very picky. Now, let me go ahead and do this as well, because there's a couple of things also that I have a little bit of an issue with on this. And I'm going to go ahead and I'll talk about the positives, and then I'll also talk about the negatives here. The positive things are we have a He-Man movie. That's pretty incredible, right? We have a He-Man movie. That's pretty incredible. Grayskull. See here. Let me see what y'all have to say in the comments here, by the way. Yeah, Deb, Skeletor looks freaking awesome. I mean, honestly, he looks awesome. But so here's a couple of great things. First, the scenery looks incredible. All of the flying ships, the weapons, etc. That looks great. Costumes look really cool. We have, obviously, we mentioned Skeletor. I'm going to go through the pictures here in just a minute. But Castle Grayskull looks awesome. Where he becomes He-Man, where he has the power, that whole scene looks incredible. I mean, it really does capture the essence of the original cartoon, which I think is great. Here are a couple of things that I think on for me they're not deal breakers, but it is me being a smidge nitpicky, if you want to say. I'm not going to compare this to the 1987 release, because that is a standalone movie that really has no part in this conversation. So I'm not going to compare the characters to Dolph Lundgren or the others. And I've got some of these people are newer actors, so I don't know all of their names. So Nicholas Galitzine, I think that's how you pronounce his name. I'm not going to compare them to Dolph Lundgren. One thing I will say is here is, and I've gone through and gotten pictures of the characters and put them next to their cartoon counterparts, right? Their cartoon counterparts. One of the really cool things about this, here's Prince Adam, obviously from the original Masters of the Universe cartoon. Here is the new Prince Adam, still wearing the same colors, which is pretty cool. He's very similar on the colors there. And he, that looks pretty good. That section looks decent if you're just going only by those pictures. Here is, however, He-Man from the original cartoon and He-Man now. This is where he's no longer Prince Adam, he's He-Man, right? The strongest man in the universe. The issue for me here is look how big He-Man is. I mean, He-Man has huge traps, huge lats, huge pecs, huge biceps. And you have a physically fit man here over on, as He-Man now. If you like you look at the original cartoon there, I mean, I'm not trying to be all, there's just a difference. there's a difference between the two. If you look at the original cartoon and what he is now, I mean, He-Man then...
He was a huge, beastly, bulging man.
And I couldn't have said it any better myself. He-Man was...
He was a huge, beastly, bulging man.
I mean, that's not what He-Man looks like in the new one. He's not as big as the original from the cartoon. Now, I know people like, well, it's the cartoon. I understand that. We had a 13-foot, 2-ton green monster in the Incredible Hulk, right? We had Thanos. And if you're going to do all the computer animation, if you're going to do all of the CGI, why not just take that extra step, beef him up a little bit, or get somebody that is huge, that is able to do the acting, somebody that looks the part. I mean, right now, Conan could take him in this position here. Let's see what the next one is here. Oh, I got, this is Teela. Teela looks pretty good as far as the comparison with the original cartoon. She was back in the day, you got to remember, this was coming out of the 70s. And back in the 70s, there was a little bit more prim and proper, what they considered classy. So it did spill over to the cartoons. And that came with the voices and the projection of the voices and the cadence of the voices, the texture, all of that. They sounded much more professional back then. I mean, He-Man's theme music sounded like it came out of the 70s. They were still rolling off of that. So you have this kind of traditional 70s-ish, early 80s, prim and proper type female. And now you have a 21st century female. Now, no problem at all. Still has the red hair. Looks really good as far as the character fits. They don't have her in the crotch riders like they did in the cartoon, because that's not the point of today, right? They're not trying to objectify the women when they do this. But there's an action shot of her running, and I got a regular shot over here too, just to kind of show the comparison between the three. But she looks pretty good as far as a comparison to the original cartoon. Skeletor, here is this Skeletor, and Panther, I did not see him in the movie. I did also, a big question that I have, where is Orko? I know they can't show you everything in a 2-minute clip. How many people out there wanted to see Orko? You have to have Orko. That's like having Thundercats without Snarf. You have to have Orko. And that's one of the things that they didn't do in the original cartoon, or not the original. That's one of the things they messed up doing in the 1987 Masters of the Universe movie, is they didn't add Orko in there. And it was probably because it was much easier to add Gimli and make him with all of the makeup than it was to have the animation and the cost of the animation or the animatronics or whatever, not really animatronics, or the technological advancements to have Orko in that movie were probably way too expensive in order for that to happen. And that's more than likely the reason that they did that. And I believe, I'm hoping, you know what? Yeah, no, I was wrong. It's not Gimli. Sorry about that. I know I'm close. Gwildor. Oh, I'm so dumb. Gwildor. So now, who was played by, this is so weird. He was played by Billy Barty. I just watched an interview with Billy Bartley last night that was completely unrelated to this. Billy Barty. I just watched an interview with Billy Barty that was on, where am I here? There we are. He was on Night Flight, and they were doing an interview, like showing an old interview with him on Night Flight. So again, my question, just to reiterate this, And so many people, I'm sure so many people out there were thinking the same thing. Where is Orko? Are they hiding Orko? I know you can't show everything in a short 2-minute clip. Are they keeping him hidden away so that he's a big secret and revealed later on? Is he going to be there? You can't have Masters of the Universe without Orko. That's like having Thundercats without Snarf. In the 87 release of the movie, they instead replaced Orko with Gwildor, and I'm sure it had something to do with the cost of having a floating wizard in your program with you or in your movie with you. That I'm sure that had something to do with it. But now with everything else that they're able to do, there's no excuse to not have him in there. So I'm going to hold out hope that he's in there, because I don't think that there's a Masters of the Universe that can exist without him. So, but here is Skeletor. Looks incredible. I mean, looks just awesome with the blue skin and just ripped. And he's not as big or bulky as the cartoon one, but he is sufficiently big, and he's got that, at least he's got that sunken face, and he looks like a skull. He looks like a skeleton around his head rather than just, a dripping, oozing type of skeleton creature. Let's see. Audrey says that she met Billy Barty when she was a kid and it was super uncomfortable for her. That's funny. I'd like to hear that story sometime. You can tell me that. Let's see here. Let's go back to these. Yeah, Skeletor does look pretty incredible. Pretty excited about that and the battle scenes there. Here's Man-at-Arms. Man-at-Arms is Idris Elba. By the way, Jared Leto is the one playing Skeletor. But Idris Elba is playing Man-at-Arms and looks pretty awesome. Excuse me. And you're making a live action movie. So the colors aren't going to be exact. Like when they made the X-Men movie, they didn't have Wolverine in a yellow leotard. They didn't have Cyclops in a blue and yellow leotard. They just had them in modern or time appropriate, era appropriate clothing. Doing the same thing here, I don't have a problem with that necessarily, because they still are capturing the essence of who the colors were, what the colors were. You can tell that the chest plate and the armor is still kind of yellowish gold, like it's been worn, it's been battle tested, and you've got the silver helmet, of course, and you've got the chest piece. So all of this, a lot of this stuff does have a great throwback to the cartoon, and I appreciate that. And for all of those people out there, I just want to say this whole thing about race swapping and making Man-at-Arms black, I don't care about that. There's a huge problem with people now, and it does not bother me. Making Man-at-Arms being played, or having Man-at-Arms being played by Idris Elba and him being a black man and race swapping, it doesn't bother me at all. I think it's perfectly fine. There are no rules as to who has to be what specific race or ethnicity on this. He can still be a great father to Tila if it's Idris Elba. There's no reason to think that is going to change the structure or the purpose or the message of that relationship. Then a lot of people had that same thought about April O'Neil when they made April O'Neil black in the later cartoons, the later iterations of the cartoons, the more modern ones. It doesn't bother me, because if you're changing that and you're making it more applicable, if you're making it more relevant for the time period you're in, I don't have a problem with that. I do get a little bit annoyed when they change storylines. Because I honestly, I think that I'm a purist in some of those storylines, but I can't really complain, because the cartoon, the 1987 version cartoon of Ninja Turtles, changed the storyline of how Haruko Saki and Hamato Yoshi came to be and what their rivalry was. The movie pulled that back, but still kept some of the elements. And then David Bay just blew that whole thing up when he came out with the other movies, which are good in their own right if you watch them for what they are, right? But a lot of people get angry that they made April black in the newer versions of the Ninja Turtles. There are several reasons to be unhappy with the newer versions of the Ninja Turtles. That's really not one of them, because I don't see a lot of people complain when they change April O'Neil throughout the years to a buxom, beautiful redhead. There's been so much fan art and so many things that have changed her. People are complaining when her cleavage is popping out of her yellow uniform. Nobody complains about that. But Baxter Stockman, who initially was black, April wasn't a reporter. She was a lab assistant to Baxter Stockman, who was black in the original comic books. They didn't have a problem when they did the literally exact opposite to Baxter Stockman. They took him from a black man and made him a red-headed, pasty, dorky scientist. I mean, you can't get more opposite than going redhead from a black man. Nobody complained about that. They did fix that later on. Michael Bay, not David Bay. They did fix that later on in the Michael Bay reiterations of that by putting in Tyler Perry. Again, perfectly fine. I don't have a problem with that. I think it's difficult. You remember when Lord of the Rings, when they released the Ring of Power, the newer television series that they had with that. And no, I haven't watched it, which I've got to watch that. My daughter's probably going to want to watch it now because Jamie Campbell Bower is going to be in the newer seasons. But what was I saying? So I'm going to read your comment in just a second, Zoe, but I'm going to lose my train of thought if I don't jump back on this. What was I saying? Crap. Hold on a second. But he was not from Earth. He had never been to Earth. I don't jump back on this. What was I saying? To watch that. My daughter putting in Tyler Perry. You can't get more opposite than going redhead from a black man. Sorry, I'm re-listening to what this was so I can remember. They did fix that later on. Michael Bay, not David Bay. They did fix that later on in the Michael Bay reiterations of that by putting in Tyler Perry. Oh, that's what I was going to say. I remember. Sorry, I had to go back and listen to I'm glad there was a delay. A lot of people were upset. And some people that used to be on this show, I won't name any names, some people were upset that they had black elves in Lord of the Rings. And I'm like, why are you upset? Why are you bothered by that? Why does it affect you? Why does it change anything? Why does that impact you at all? But people were really mad because they were introducing it because it's not canon. It's like, you don't know that that's not canon. I mean, I know that Tolkien wrote a lot extensively about the history of Middle Earth, but I don't think that there's anything in there that precludes there from being elves of color or hobbits of color that could be from a different place. You know, that's the whole point of Star Trek. When you look back at Star Trek and the Gene Roddenberry's desire for Star Trek, it was all about inclusion. It was all about diversity. It was all about understanding that people are different and that we should appreciate other people's religions, other people's orientations, other people's preferences, that we don't impact or try to change those cultures or try to deviate or try to force them to deviate from that path that they're on. And you're talking back in the 60s and 70s. That was revolutionary stuff, right? So when they released the new Star Trek, The Academy, I think is what it's called. Is it on, what is it on? I did not expect to talk about this today, but I'm fine with it because I do think it needs to be discussed. I know it's on Paramount. Let me pull it up here real quick. It is called, I'll just go to my Star Trek. There's like a collection here, and it's all the franchises, like all the Star Trek movies, the old seasons, the newer seasons. Here we go. Explore Star Trek. Starfleet Academy is what it's called. Starfleet Academy. With the way Star Trek was, to see an evolution, quoting fingers, of Starfleet Academy really isn't an evolution. It's really not a change in the message or focus of what Star Trek was originally about. And it continued on with the Next Generation, and then on, excuse me, the Next Generation, and then on with Deep Space Nine and Voyager, and all the different iterations of Star Trek continued on with that same thing. You still had those particular alien races that hated other alien races simply because of what they looked like or where they were from. And it was attacking, and it was very pointed. It was a message to people that you don't hate others because of their differences. So when you see something like Starfleet Academy isn't an evolution. Starfleet Academy is a continuation of what Star Trek was and is, and the message of it. So when they accuse these different franchises of race swapping, I wonder, does it really impact us that much? Is it really that big of a deal to have that happen? Let's see. Let's check on the chat here before I go on with these other characters. It doesn't. So Zoe says, it doesn't bother me when they change fictional characters. It's when they make Cleopatra black. That's the kind of thing that bothers me. Audrey, I have not watched Starfleet. I am behind. Growing up, Friday nights at when Star Trek The Next Generation came on Friday night, and it came on at 9 o'clock, if I'm not mistaken. And my dad was religious at watching that. There was no TiVo. There was no. The only way you could record something is if you recorded it on your VCR and you turned your TV off, or you had to watch whatever you were recording. You could not change the channel. There was no start recording it now and then catch up later when you fast forward. None of that stuff. And most of the people listening to this show know that, and some of the younger folks may not, but there was no TiVo. There was nothing that allowed you to pause live television. That was unheard of, okay? So Next Generation would come on, and my dad was religious. Bam, every Friday. Bam, 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 bam. I guarantee you, he's almost 70 years old. I could call him up and be like, Dad, season 3, episode 9, when they were, and he would be like, well, that was blah, 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 blah. And he would just probably just tell me. He watched religiously. He watched the original series over and over again. We watched all the movies growing up. Gosh, the movies were just fantastic. I loved, my favorite one is The Undiscovered Country. But anyway, the Search for Spock is great. I would love to have all of those on VHS. I would love to have all of those on VHS again. If anybody has those on VHS and you want to sell those, please let me know. Because the original Star Trek on VHS would be, to me, would be another one of those capturing moments of my childhood. Anyway, but my dad would watch Star Trek The Next Generation. I would literally bury my face in the couch because I hated that show so much. I was waiting. What I wanted to watch was Friday the 13th, the series. That's a fantastic show that came on back then. Very fantastic show. Probably the greatest of the Friday the 13th shows. No. Friday the 13th, the series came on Friday nights at 10 o'clock, and that's what I wanted to watch. It was about these cousins whose great uncle died and left them a cursed antique shop. And they had a book of all these antiques. He made a deal with the devil, and all the antiques were cursed. And whenever those antiques left the shop or were bought by somebody, they caused some horrible thing to happen. So his niece and nephew, when he died, he left this shop to them, and then they had to go and collect all of these artifacts that had curses. Oh, it was great. It was great. It was peak 80s, 90s paranormal Friday night television. So awesome. I wonder if Night Flight has that, because they've got some great stuff. I might have to check out Friday. I spelled series wrong. That's another one that is. Anyway, they do not have it over there at Night Flight. But the Friday the 13th, the series, that's the show I would want to watch. Well, now, as an adult, I'm focused more on and want to know more about those shows that my dad watched. But it's not just about that. It's about the leadership style that, between Kirk and Picard. And I'm just like, you know what? I want to watch it. So now I'm actually super interested in watching them. So I'm working through the original series. I'm working through The Next Generation. And I won't let myself move on to the other series until I get through those. And I mean, because, I have to get through Next Generation before I can watch Picard, obviously. But what I really am excited to watch is Strange New Worlds. I cannot wait to see that. I might have to cheat and watch that one, but I'm so excited to see that one. But as I get older, I look back, and those shows, you learn so much from those shows. It's so awesome. Very excited about watching them. Anyway, kind of I digress there a little bit. But all of that to say, I don't, this whole race switching or the race switching thing, I'm not going to get that bent out of shape. I do understand what you're saying, so I don't want to be dismissive of that, because I do understand when you're trying to do like historically accurate characters, why you would replace them with, a character of a different ethnicity. I mean, it would be like replacing Martin Luther King Jr. with a white man. That would be offensive, I think. Now, of the other ones, I mean, if George Washington is black, if Thomas Jefferson, if they portray him as black like they did in Hamilton, no, Thomas Jefferson wasn't. He was French. No, he was Thomas Jefferson, and then it was James Madison that was black. If Bree were here, she could tell me, but she's not here. Anyway. I can understand the historical difference that you're looking at there, because you probably wanted to be as accurate as you can be, and that makes perfect sense. For people that take creative licenses like that. So I mean, but you also look back, how many movies had Jesus in them, and Jesus was a white man? It's like, bro, Jesus was not a white guy. I mean, he considered Caucasian, but he was Middle Eastern. He was not a white person. So there's a lot of those changes that people take those creative licenses on, or artistic licenses, which may or may not be super appropriate. But Man-at-Arms looks awesome. Let's see here. Make sure. Yeah, there's Skeletor. Did I skip over? Who's that right there? I think no, I didn't. Yeah, there's Man-at-Arms. Okay, here we go. Evil Lynn. This is, now some of these are really quick snapshots from the movie trailer, because they've not released like a press kit or anything. To my knowledge, they haven't. To plebes like me, to the lesser of the nerds, they have not released it. But this is what Evil Lynn looks like in the old cartoon, as opposed to the new movie. Other than the color scheme being different, I mean, she looks evil. I would buy that she's an evil enchantress, an evil sorceress. Okay, I'm down for it. I can get into that. Let's see here. She's played by, gosh, I can't believe they have Ram Man. That's so exciting. You can't really see him in the, let's see, yeah. Alison Brie is who plays her, Evil Lynn. So there's Evil Lynn. Fine with that. Got no problems there. The sorceress, they don't have any clips really or pictures of the sorceress in the new one, as opposed to the older one. So here's the comparison between the sorceress from the cartoon and then what, she just looks like as a regular person here. Nothing really different. That is Morena. I think it's Baccarin. She was in, I think, Gotham. But she's married to Ben McKenzie, who was on the OC and also from Gotham. And then here I had to toss in Cringer, because here's Cringer in the cartoon, all scaredy cat, so afraid, didn't want to go with Prince Adam, just wanted to, hide from everything bad. And there he is back there behind her. There was a much better shot on the that I showed you all earlier. And I might go ahead and pull that up here, because it looked pretty incredible. Let me mute that. Yeah, there we go. See if I can't find. There it was right there. Do I have my TV muted? No, now I do. Sorry, I was trying to find a better shot of him on the thing, but there you go. You've got that there. He looks pretty cool. I think he looks exceptional there as well. So I'm not overall. I'm excited about it, but I am excuse me. But I am worried about the size of He-Man's body. And a couple of those other things that I've already mentioned. All right, so you can join us on the chat by going to Vocal. That's VOCL.com. Join us on the live broadcast there. You can check us out at Rumble and hang out with all the fine, wonderful folks that are hanging out with us over there, too. We've got Mind of Zoe, Space Hippie on vacay. We've got Deb hanging out there with us as well. And we're on YouTube and also broadcasting live on Facebook and on D Live. So, multiple places. What am I hearing? Okay, that's what I'm hearing. Sorry. Okay, there we go. So what else do I have on the docket? One thing that I would like to kind of throw out there. Yeah, you're right. Space Hippie. Audrey is saying that Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman wasn't the full-figured Linda Carter or Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman wasn't the full-figured Linda Carter or cartoon version. You're absolutely right on that. You're absolutely right. You see, I mean, she kind of like the persona of it kind of fit, but yeah, she wasn't the muscular, fit, full-figured type that Linda Carter was. And that's not offensive either. I mean, it's just you wonder about that in this world of imagination, how a skinny armed person like that can do such powerful things. So, one thing I would like to, it seems like the majority of the movies that we have nowadays, when it comes to especially to superhero movies, they're animated movies. I know that you have live action characters that are doing stuff, but when you look at something like the Avengers is what 98% of the Avengers is all CGI or some kind of what they call those motion detecting devices where they most of the movies that we watch now, especially when it comes to superheroes, are animated movies. What I would love to see, and this may just be my just a dream, just a fantasy on my part. But what I would really love to see, I would love to see a modern movie done with the same type of animatronics as the Dark Crystal or the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the 1990 perfect version of that movie. I would really like to see, with today's modern technology, something like the Jim Henson Studio come alive and meet this new technology that we have. Let me see here. Sorry. Because you had like what? I made some notes on this. You had Dark Crystal, Labyrinth. How awesome would those movies be today? But, with the updated kind of technology, the mechanics, the guts of those animatronics, but none of the CGI. Because when you look at those, there were people that were in those outfits. They were people that were in those costumes. You look at the original Ninja Turtles movie. They had to have two different costumes, at least for each of the actors. You had the stunt costumes, which enabled them to do the jujitsu, which the people really knew. It wasn't CGI. It wasn't some fake battle scene. It was real, legit hand-to-hand combat. And then they had another costume that was for the dialogue, and it was for the conversations. And it was all obviously still controlled. But the ones that they did for the action scenes were just a fixed face. Whereas the ones they did for the dialogue were the animatronic faces where they move the eyes and move the mouths and all of that stuff. And you had to coordinate between the actor in the costume and the puppeteers that were running the mouths and stuff. And it was the same thing with Dark Crystal or Labyrinth. You had those creatures that needed to be controlled, and you had to work hand in hand with the people in the costumes so that you wouldn't have, so that you would be in sync. So that you would be in sync with your acting. And that, I think, not that I'm like, I don't like the technology today, because, there's some things that you can't do with that kind of animation. I'm sorry. There are some things you can't do with that, even with that type of nostalgic flair or that nostalgic technology. There are some things obviously you can't do. And there are some things you can do with the addition of CGI, but let's not become so much CGI that really the actors are just doing voiceover stuff. Because really, I would love to see that. I would really love to see that that come back, for that to make. And I wonder if there's somebody, maybe I'll just, because my daughter, of course, she's going into filmmaking. Communications with a filmmaking major, and I'm wondering if there's some way that I could just drop a bug in her ear and be like, hey, one of you folks down there need to bring back animatronics. Folks need to bring back animatronics. Let's see, there's that. Because there was. Yeah, okay. So here's a couple other ones that I found. I would love to see the technology, the animatronics, the puppeteering, the mastery of those puppets and human costumes, animatronic costumes, kind of combined with modern technology, the sensors and such, and those movies perform that way. Think about E.T., The Thing, Gremlins, Dark Crystal, Labyrinth, An American Werewolf in London, Child's Play, that type of work. I mean, even Jurassic Park had animatronics in it. I would love to see that. And obviously, as mentioned previously, the Ninja Turtles, I would love to see that make a comeback and that type of artistry really be celebrated, accentuated, and brought to the forefront. All right, let's do this. I want to get. All right, don't look anybody here. Don't look. You can see it probably. Okay. Here we go. I got to move it up a little bit. Or I got to move this back. This is another one of the finds that I had, and one of the great birthday presents that my beautiful wife so generously allowed me to get. This is a remake, a reissue, I should say, of the original Ninja Turtles Party Wagon. All right, the original Ninja Turtles Party Wagon. And this was... Let's see if this works. There. Oh, wrong direction. What's happening here? There we go. Sorry, folks. I got something here. Another toy that I bought. It's working. Why is that all of a sudden not working? Okay, it's spinning. You spin me right round, baby, right round. Like a record, baby, round, round, right round. Okay, there we go. So this is a reissue of the 19... Move these turtles back, 'cause I need some space for this to be picked up on the camera. There you go. Okay. So as you can see here, this is the This is an originally factory sealed. It does have some damage, but this is an original factory sealed. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. It does have some damage on the box, but this is a factory sealed reissue of the original Turtles Party Wagon. Now this is from 2021 is when this reissue was created. The original came out in 1990, I believe, but it was, let's see here. You just watch that for a moment. $1988 is when it came out. So the original came out in 1988. This is a remake or a reissue of that. You can see that it is in a factory sealed box, still factory sealed. There's a little bit of damage that's on the box, but that's okay because I am going to open it. I'm going to do like an unboxing of this. I don't know why this all of a sudden is starting to give me trouble. I wonder if it's the speed. I wonder if I need to speed it up. But this is the factory sealed. A little bit faster. See if that helps out. Okay. Love this thing. I'm so excited about this. Now it's falling. You know, before I started the show, I tried this out to make sure that it would work. And it was working just fine. And now it's deciding that it wants to stop working. The whole reason I bought this little turntable is because of this. There's the back of the box. I guess that's kind of like a control. I don't mind doing a full review. Side of the box there. As you can see, there's a little bit of damage. Which I'm not too worried about. As mentioned, I'm going to be opening this up. I'm going to be doing an unboxing of it. And because when you open it up, you've got to put all the stickers on, which is scaring me to death. I'm going to have to complain about this thing if it doesn't start working better. No, I am going to stop it on purpose. Okay. So for this week's walk down memory lane, we're going to talk about the Ninja Turtles Party Wagon. And again, this one came out in 2021. It is a remake of the original one that came out in 1988. And it is a fantastic piece. I love everything. I love the detail about this for several reasons. It's a very basic toy, but you get to apply the stickers, which scared the crap out of me. And you have these great mirrors on there, great weapons and guns. You've got the tenderizer that pops off the side there, the foot tenderizer that opens up. And I'll show you some different versions of this. But here is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Turtle Party Wagon Mutant Action Van. And here are take a look at these. This is what it looks like when you pop the thing open. This is just now this, of course, these pictures are from the 2021 remake. But this is, as you can see there, just great. Just a little van. Nothing super special about this van. It was an old news van that they turned into this. Has some bombs that you're going to drop out of the side there. Gives you a good top view of this. Very basic toy. This does not have all the inner workings, the computers that the actual Ninja Turtle Party Wagon has in the cartoon, but it does have some interesting aspects of battle that you can use. This lid, as you can see, this lid opens up. This door stays closed. Sorry, here. This door stays closed while in transit. right here, this door. Okay? When you open the roof, this door springs open. It has a turtle sitting here. And on this, there's these little, I guess you can call them nipples. I don't know what you would call those. There are these little pieces on here that I had a rubber band. I don't know if the rubber band was what came with it, but you would wrap it around the turtle and they would be belted in. When you lifted up the roof, the foot tenderizer popped open, and then this little tray opened as well. Let me see something here. I want to look up. There. Do something real quick. Yes. Here it is. Just a second. Oh, that's not the one. I think this is the one here. Sorry, I know that I'm making you all pause while I'm doing this, but I want to show you. I'm just going to show you in action. Okay, here we go. I'm going to show you this here. Oh, no, not that one. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll give you a topic. Here, I'll go ahead and just switch to this. I'll let you look at that while I'm getting this set up. What I'm doing here. Here we go. There we go. Okay. Fit this. Here we go. There we go. I'm still here. Don't go anywhere. Hey, it worked. Sweetness. Okay. This is the original commercial for this fantastic piece of artistry.
Let's party, dudes! The Turtles Party Wagon means good times for the green guys and hard knocks for the foot.
Yeah, and it's a big hit.
Yoink! It's Mike and April on the Ninja News Cycle, arriving at the scene of a crime with fold-down gull-wing, satellite dish, and pop-up turtle cam. They've got everything they need to record fancy footwork. And who else would rob a shoe store? Oh, will the foot stomp them? Teenage Mutant Ninja.
Figures and vehicles sold separately.
Yeah, so that kind of shows you real quick there what that is.
Means good times for the green guys and hard knocks for the foot.
Yeah. So you lifted up that lid. By the way, that's Donatello's voice right there for Mikey. That's not Mikey's voice right there. But you can see that popped open on the on the side of that.
For the foot.
Yeah, and it's a big hit.
It's so great.
Party, dude.
I'm just gonna watch it again because I talked for that other one. So here we go.
Let's party, dudes! The Turtles Party Wagon means good times for the green guys and hard knocks for the foot.
Yeah, and it's a big hit.
Yoink! It's Mike and April on the Ninja News Cycle, arriving at the scene of a crime with fold-down gull wings, satellite dish, and pop-up turtle cam. They've got everything they need to record fancy footwork. And who else would rob a shoe store? Oh, will the foot stomp them? Teenage Mutant Ninja.
Figures and vehicles sold separately from Playmates.
That's so awesome. That is so fantastic. But anyway, that's what the Party Wagon does. Now, I was able to acquire this. This is again a reissue, so I don't want there to be any confusion on this at all. This is a reissue. It's not the original. However, I'm still very excited to get this. I'm still very excited to have this because they've reissued the Technodrome, the Sewer, the Party Wagon, and multiple other of the toys. And I think that I personally am very happy that they're doing that for another generation of kids to play with them. I am looking for the originals. If I came across an original Party Wagon and I could afford it, I would buy it. I think though right now you could get a extremely high graded factory sealed acrylic boxed Party Wagon for somewhere around $4,900. I'm saving for that. You know, I mean, I would be incredibly excited to have a piece like that in my arsenal. I would love to have that, you know, as a burgeoning collector, as a new collector. I would love to have a piece like that in my collection. I would rather have something that I could open up and feel, touch, and share with folks. Because one of the things I'm thinking about, and of course it's a really great excuse to use on my wife when I want to buy toys, is I'm thinking also about my grandkids. I want to be able to play with my grandkids. And by having, by having these physical pieces of, Oh, where did that go? What's happening here? Sorry. I am eventually, I promise you, going to go through an entire episode without one technical difficulty. Although I would love to have an extremely high-graded, valuable piece in my collection, I would much rather have the objects that I can open and play with and feel and share. This might just be an excuse. I might be just telling my wife this because I hope it'll soften her heart and let me buy more toys. I am thinking about my grandkids as well, being able to play with my grandchildren eventually. I mean, I don't have any grandkids now, but eventually I'm sure I will. But being able to just sit down on the floor, watch Ninja Turtle movies, and play Ninja Turtle toys with them, I think it would just be so fun. This is one of those pieces. It's a very basic piece. There's not a lot of rigmarole to it. And you can, once you pull it out of the package, you're putting some stickers on, having a great time doing that. Once the stickers are on and all the little plastic pieces are in place, you're good to go to have a fun time. And you think about the basic Hot Wheel car, how incredible a Hot Wheel car was, and the imagination you can have with that in the racetracks and such. This really is just a big Hot Wheel car that carries the greatest action figures of all time, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And it is a blast to play with. It is fun to have, and the colors are gorgeous. I love the packaging of these older toys, especially the Playmates Ninja Turtle toys, because there is a cohesiveness to the color scheme that they use across the broad spectrum of their toys. And I think that it contains, I'm going to stop saying I think, it contains just nostalgia and real art and beauty in a package. And I know that's silly. It sounds silly, but it really is a beautiful package. And I'm very excited to have this and add this to my collection, my burgeoning, very, very tiny collection. Let's see. Oh, I'm sorry. All right. Well, hey, see you later, Audrey. Sorry, I didn't even know you left. I apologize. I wasn't looking at the chat there. But thanks for joining us, Audrey. Hope and pray that you're feeling better And I hope things are going well for you. Okay. I know this has been partly like a big show and tell, but I'm very excited about this and really glad that you all are humoring me. Excuse me. I'm so happy that you all are humoring me and allowing me to share this with you. Okay, let me see. I thought there was something else I wanted to discuss. Did I close that down? Did I put it somewhere? I guess I closed it down. I didn't mean to. Let's see. All right. All right, folks. I think at this point, I believe that is going to be all for the show today. I of course got some other stuff I'm working on. Want to share it with y'all through the week. There's still some other things that I was able to capture. It was my birthday weekend last weekend, so my family spoiled me, and I'm going to show you a couple of great things that they got for me, and then share some of those nostalgic memories with y'all as well. Have some things from my childhood I want to talk about. All of that coming up in the future of the show. I'm not going to dump it all out on you right now, but very excited, very happy that I'm here, and very happy that you all are here with me as well. So you all have a fantastic day. Until next time, be kind and rewind.